Good evening and welcome to the Man United agenda. It's a Friday, which is Mr. B's happiest day of the week. We've got a Monday Juma and Mr. B with us tonight, and quite a lot of static going on in the background as well.
Hold on, I know what that is. How's that?
Yeah, that's good. I mean, that is the sound of a super professional Manchester United podcast. So, which is what we are. I don't think anyone can deny it. OMONDI, how are you?
Yeah, very good. I've done a long week this week. I've had to do a lot of overtime recently. So I've done 2 12-hour shifts in a row, and I've just finished a late shift. So I finished at 8 tonight. So I've been putting the work in, really putting my head down, and my life has just been focused on real work and having fun on the agenda. So that's what I've been about this week. I've neglected everything else. So everyone else out there, oh yeah, by the way, congratulations. My sister had a baby today, and healthy, happy, and she gave birth at home and just squatted and just popped out. So welcome, my new nephew.
Was that planned on Monday?
Yeah, she doesn't deal with hospitals and that. She does everything natural. She's such a naturalist. Everything is natural, and proof is in the pudding because she's got a 4-year-old who's absolutely outstanding, just bright, happy, healthy. Yeah, it's a wonderful thing. So yeah, she just
not in a bath.
No, not in the bath. Just squatted, eased it out. No gas in there, anything like that. Just really, she's done it before. She's just a natural, and I'm just really can't wait to go and see him over the weekend.
Has he got a name?
Yeah, Kareem. That's his name, Kareem, and he looks like me.
Does he?
Lucky boy.
Yeah, big beard, dreadlocks.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. It's always great to hear about the arrival of new, happy, healthy babies. Mr. B, have you been producing children today?
Not a chance of that, mate. Not one chance of that. The missus has gone out, and I'm in the show, so we ain't producing no nothings. And yeah, no. Producing is all done, bruv. That's it, finished. No more. I'm broke enough as it is.
All right. Well, how's your day been?
It's good. Friday, I had a good day at work. I was home for 12. I don't know what's wrong with me. I've slept most of the day for some unknown reason. So maybe it's just in preparation for the drinking I'm going to be doing tomorrow.
Nice. Anything special?
No, I'm just going to drink.
Nice. All right. Well, let's see who we've got in the house. It's DK Wilson. All the way from the great state of Colorado, it's Boulder's most famous son, DK Wilson.
Oh my gosh.
What?
Wow. I saw his comment. I said, I was going to say he's from Denver. And you just said Colorado. Yeah. Wow.
See? It's the seeing congratulations. It shifted your brain towards something beginning with C.
We got a connection. And something with C as well. Do you say it was beginning with C?
Yeah.
What? Denver.
No, Colorado.
Oh, I thought you meant the Carringtons because they're from Denver, aren't they? The dynasty.
Were they?
Yeah, isn't Denver dynasty? Dynasties. Carrington. Blake Carrington.
Oh shit! Yeah, yes. I couldn't tell you if it was. I don't know if it was Dallas. I'd say Dallas was Dallas. We know that.
That's Texas. Yeah, but Denver also has. I really want to go to their airport because it's very, very. Spooky.
I've been.
You've been to Denver Airport?
Yeah, I've been. The reason I said I've been to Colorado Springs and to Boulder, and I really Colorado is an incredible place. I'd love.
Explain why is it so? What's nice about it?
The mountains. Everywhere I've lived that I've really enjoyed has had mountains. Like Santiago in Chile has the Andes just behind it, and I always like mountains. They represent like adventure and things to me. Like let's just fuck off and get up that mountain. So like Colorado has the Rockies probably running through it. So
the airport's a bit spooky. That's
right. Tell me about the airport on Monday.
I'll tell you off there. I'm sure
it's one of these, is it?
yeah, tell us up here. That's right. Tell us up here, Rob. Get us in trouble.
Well, I don't want to be sectioned again on Monday. It's Matty Basset. Good evening, Matty. Are you you're off kebabs now, aren't you, mate? Like I hope we haven't kebab shamed you. But it's very important to be healthy. He's bigging everyone up, and weed is legal, but I quit smoking 15 years ago. I suppose it was just the danger that excited him about it then. Flying over the mountains, not the airport, is scary.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
All right. Are you a good flyer, Mr. B?
I don't do heights.
Okay.
I really don't do heights, but I'll get on a plane. But I go to sleep as soon as I get on a plane. I have 2 shots of rum before, and then I just go straight to sleep. Your device will restart. If this switches off, it's because this is restarting. But I don't know how to not make it restart. So maybe I pressed the right button there. But if it does come, if I do dip out, then I'll come back in. Oh shit! I forgot what I was saying as well.
About flying, like Mr. T, like B.A. Baracus.
Yeah, I just sleep. I'll be honest. If
you drink a lot of milk as well, don't you?
Yeah, that's got no. What does that have to do with it?
In the A-team, when they wanted to put B.A. to sleep, they used to give him a glass of milk. And
did they?
Yeah,
I just see. I didn't see. I didn't just like P Diddy. Yeah, I didn't even know that.
we're on the cusp of being controversial today.
That is crazy. That P Diddy thing, though. But anyway, let's get back to the important thing, which is Matty's kebab. Why are you off the kebabs, Matty? We do take an interest in like what's going on with chat and things and how you all are. Unless you're Bart.
It took you 5 days to come back, yeah?
Is this your first time coming back, Bart?
Yeah, since he didn't get that result. We had him in the show before, the day before, and then I think his internet broke, to be fair. The cave, there's no Wi-Fi in his cave, but it's all right. Welcome, Bart. Welcome, man.
So I've got a theory that Bart actually isn't even really a football fan. That Bart just is a troll. That he likes trolling people. So
he's an agenda fan.
Yeah, but he says he supports Liverpool. I'm not sure Bart does support Liverpool. I just think he likes annoying people, which I can get behind. I can respect that. And Matty he's just working on his fitness currently.
It makes sense.
Excellent. Good for you, Matty. I hope that some of the stuff on the eye test has also helped you become a better midfielder, because you just the way you sort of like crouch in that profile picture makes you look like a footballer, like a proper one. But and look, it's Emma K. Hello, boys.
Good evening.
I haven't said that for a long time. Oh dear. Pardon me for not coming on, as I've been hard recently. I actually fell asleep half an hour ago before yesterday's show. I think you mean tired, Bart, but from their own.
Look at that word that he's used to using. It just comes up straight away in his auto. Oh, Bart. What have you been talking about, eh?
Yeah, he means working hard. Or maybe he means working stiff. I don't know. All right. So, first of all, we're going to talk about a footballer or someone who we think could be a footballer. Mr. B, you have told me that there has been a sighting of the lesser seen Malacia.
Yes, he is back. He is in between his home in Holland, Carrington, and Barcelona. Why he has to be going to Barcelona, I have no idea. But yeah, he's been spotted. As I said, I thought he was a what do you call it? A balloon head. Allegedly. Those were my thoughts. Just because he had been out for so long. I mean, it could still be him, to be fair. It doesn't mean, but they've tried to explain the injury, saying that they used his surgeon, and they left whatever material debris they left on the knee. And then they had to go to the United surgeons, or who they recommended. I have no idea how it takes a year to come back from a knee injury, but we're not going to see him before the end of the season anyway. So look, maybe he'll be back for next season. There's no positives for this season. It's a positive for him, but is that bad? Why wasn't it just said that he had they tried to keep everything so hush? I mean, what was the point? I don't understand why. I mean, Ten Hag seems to be very secretive about injuries anyway. I know he did mention something about, giving the opposition an unfair advantage if they know Scott McTominay's knee is a bit damaged or whatever. But Malacia wasn't playing, so I'm sure they could have opened up a little bit more. You know, we've had 2 of our defenders out for the whole season, really, plus the rest. But yeah.
I did some investigation into Malacia in the last 2 minutes. And the last match he played was a competitive defeat in June to the Netherlands. To Croatia for the Netherlands. So that is, I mean, that's June. That's the last time that he was on a football pitch, fit and healthy. And I mean, Omondi, do you know how old Malacia is?
23, is he?
24.
24, okay. Yeah, what gets me, I think it comes down to maybe because if they were to release a lot of news about this, because it's only just coming out, we've always been asking, it's a big mystery, isn't it? Where's Malacia? He's been on milk cartons and all that kind of thing. But all throughout, so when we're hearing the news that's come out recently, it seems like it's poor decision making. So he's made a decision to go with a Dutch doctor, as Mr. B was explaining earlier, rather than be consulted from the Manchester United medical team. And then that messed up because we had surgery. And then as Mr. B said, there was parts of his cartilage, something to do with his cartilage on his knee, was still hanging around his knee. So he had to go back and fix that problem as well. So it's setback after setback, and then decision making. And as Mr. B, I didn't know the last bit of Mr. B said about him going back towards from Barcelona to Holland back to our team. I think when you're employed by Manchester United, there should be, I don't know, I'm just putting it out there, but maybe to avoid these sort of situations where you're getting bad advice or going to the wrong doctors, you should deal with one medical team, which should be the Man United medical team. If they can't fix it, they should send you somewhere else. But it should be all controlled and under control. I think the reason they haven't released it is because it makes a mockery of the decision making that's been done. Maybe it's Malacia's fault; they don't want to put the heat on him. But either way, these things need to be fixed in the future to avoid having a good left back being out all season, which he would have played. He would have got games last season. I was pretty impressed with his intensity. The way he played his football. I don't think he was our best left back, but I think he gave us some bite and I liked him.
I mean, a couple of things that sort of come to mind in this is that I always think that football clubs are terrified about being sued, about like litigation being brought against them. And if, for example, we were in a world where like Malacia has been injured and the club like release a statement saying Malacia will go to Dr. Kim Vinters on the 17th of January and undergo an operation and all these things, I think it leaves a paper trail that is quite easy to be litigious about.
What's litigious mean?
It means like bringing forth legal action, so suing people.
Okay.
Like if someone is litigious, they like to settle their arguments in court a lot.
Okay. Frank Warren.
Yeah, he's litigious. Yeah. But the other thing is, right, I've said this so many times, but I'm so biased to a player's point of view over everything else because I haven't owned a football club, I haven't managed a football club. I have coached some young girls, but I'm not really a coach or anything like that. I'm a player in my mind. And I think you've got to give players agency over themselves. Like Manchester United, not only do we not have like world-class medical facilities and stuff like that, we don't have an operating theatre at Carrington. You know, like we basically outsource operations and things to people that we know and trust.
What are we? Have teams got operating theatres out there?
No. Like, do you remember when Keno did his cruciate in like 20 years ago, 25 years ago?
Who's Chemo?
Roy Keane.
Oh, I thought you said chemo as in therapy.
No, Keane.
All right.
Like there used to be a guy. I actually think he was from Colorado. Now I think of it, he was like an American sports surgeon that pretty much every player went to.
Oh, Stedman.
Jeez, you're right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Don't ask me. Don't ask me how I remembered that. Don't ask me how I remember. I have no idea how that even popped into my head. But he did Van Nistelrooy's knee, didn't he?
Yeah. I think that was the guy.
Yeah.
And so like what I suspect like you have is that at your club and your national team, they have like a list of preferred surgeons and things like that. And I think that Malacia has taken advice from Louis van Gaal, probably, or the Dutch side, or people that he knows and things, and has gone to see their surgeon, and their surgeon hasn't done it particularly well. But the other part of it is that our medical team, like Charlie Owen, the new one from Arsenal, they should all be in contact with these surgeons and getting notes and things like that. And it seems to me that there's been huge miscommunication. An operation has gone wrong. And at the centre of it is poor Malacia, who we haven't heard him do anything bad since he come to the football club. He's been perfectly fine when he's played. He's lost a year of his career, and he might not come back as a player able to cope at the top level anymore, which is a crying shame. So, I mean, that's how I see it, OMONDI.
No, it's a good discussion because we don't know everything, but what we can discuss is the implications, which is one, we've lost a player for a season. The decision making. You're saying that the player is obviously chosen to go somewhere. It's a bad call. Whatever's happened, it's gone wrong, because something like this, it should have been dealt with in the first operation, and then we could have had him back maybe a few months ago. But we've seen this with Mount as well. I don't know if it's just a coincidence or what. With Mount, he broke down after his injury. With Martinez, had an injury with a metatarsal, I think, and he broke down. Yeah, and Wan-Bissaka as well. So there's several players. Is that a coincidence, or is it just bad luck, or whatever? Well, I don't know, Mr. B.
Well, look, if you think about the most recent one is Casemiro.
What happened with him?
The United squad sent him out to play for Brazil, and he said he felt he didn't feel right. He spoke to his own surgeon, and his own surgeon advised him not to play, and they sent him back. So maybe they actually don't trust internally. A lot of the players don't trust the Man United physios because of years of being arseholes. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm just...
I agree with you, Mr. B, that I wouldn't, as a player, I wouldn't trust the coaching staff at United, because what happened to Wan-Bissaka, and I think everyone who watches knows that I'm not a fan of Wan-Bissaka. I still haven't forgiven him for the FA Cup final. But Wan-Bissaka is, a real human being and stuff. And he was on the red list, which means that, like, at danger of getting an injury. And Ten Hag brought him on against Brighton we'd lost that game, and there was like 6 or 7 minutes left. And Wan-Bissaka was out, I believe, for over 2 months because of an injury that he picked up in that. Now, I don't know if that's the fault of the manager or the playing or the physio staff, but both of them, the manager and the physio staff, I think it's fair to say, have completely cocked up every rehabilitation this season. Like everyone who's been injured has not just come back and been okay. There's been problems every time. Like McTominay now has an injury, and I think that he got injured against Liverpool when we won in the cup.
Chelsea, he if you remember, if you look in the Chelsea game, because I remember commentating,
he got smashed by Caicedo.
Yeah, and he hyperextended his knee, and I said at the time, "Ooh, that looks a bit funny," but nothing else was said. He carried on playing the game, didn't he?
Yeah.
So
I also think in the Liverpool game, do you remember he cleared a header and then he charged up the pitch and we scored with Ahmed? Previously to that, McTominay missed a chance where he ran a huge distance and slid in and it went wide. But in that moment, I think he injured his knee a bit there because he was limping for the rest of the game. We had a couple of players just on one leg for that game. And then McTominay starts against Chelsea. McTominay comes on against Chelsea, and within 10 minutes has suffered a further injury to that knee. I think that's really poor from physios and the coach. OMONDI.
I just want to excuse Ten Hag in this because
I know you do.
Yeah, you just let it on. You said it's really poor from physios. Full stop. You said and the coach. You referred
the coach in this case with Wan-Bissaka. The coach brought him on.
Yeah, but why would he be on the bench? It's got nothing to do with the coach. It's the medical staff that put Wan-Bissaka on the bench. I agree with you, everything up until that. that Wan-Bissaka was on the bench, but why would he be on the bench?
All right.
Not
So
able to play.
That's
the question I would be asking. The manager's got to look at who's available, who's fit. He doesn't have to go into the details and check the files, see, okay, let me just do an X-ray on this to make sure. That's not his job. He's going to say to him, is he available to play? Would he be on the bench? Yes, he's on the bench, which means he's good, he's trained, he's done something, he can come on and play. I don't think it's down to the manager.
All right, I'll give you a different, I'll give you a more detailed explanation of why I think it's the manager. Wan-Bissaka is on the bench because he's coming back from injury and isn't fit enough to start. Would you accept that as being true?
No.
Fair enough.
If you're on the bench, it means you've trained and you're ready to get 20 minutes or something like that if you're coming back from injury. So they wouldn't put you on the bench if that was the case. I'm sure Mason Mount could have played mid-January, but they had to make sure he was ready to be on the bench because you have to do warm-ups, you have to do warm-ups for the game, you have to train and everything else. So I just
all right. I'm very willing to accept that in the case of Varan Wan-Bissaka, and I think you've made a good counterclaim that Mason Mount has come back and doesn't appear to have been injured since he came back. Like he appears ready to play. What I'm going to ask you now before we get to the comments is, are you completely excluding Ten Hag from the injury problems that we've had this season?
I'm going to say yes, but if you can present me some evidence to suggest that maybe he is responsible, I'm willing to hear it, yeah.
No, I'm not going to present any evidence other than sort of the conjecture that he works in tandem with the medical staff, and the facts are that we've seen like players unable to sort of like rehabilitate themselves this season as a whole.
But sorry, Mr. B in bath time, I feel that, I don't know if you heard a couple of weeks ago when he was asked in a press conference about the injuries, he said it's something that he needs to go and deal with, meaning they're not going to speak to the press about it, but he recognises there is a problem because there's been accumulation of injuries throughout the whole season. But he's saying it's something they know about, reason why, and it's something they need to go and investigate. So I can't pin it all on one person. It's like, you know, we're playing what's that game? Not that game where you find out who the murderer is. Is it Cluedo?
It's Cluedo, or the one where you flick things up, like he's got glasses.
It's Cluedo. No, not that one. It's Cluedo where you find, right. Ten Hag went to the dining room and murdered. Yeah. We can't play that. We were trying to play that when we don't really know all the evidence. Ten Hag to me is not suspect. I mean, you're like Columbo right now with your trench coat bath times, trawling the internet, trying to sort of interview people and put people online and telling them about your wife who doesn't exist back home, you know. But I love Columbo; he's great, isn't he? But yeah, so I'm just waiting. I don't know if people in the comments or whatever.
I hope that was more of this.
I don't think he's got anything to do with the manager.
I hope that was this towards Sarah, please. No disrespect, Sarah. Good. She'll beat me up later if she finds out about that. Right. And another thing, it's time for the comments, and then we'll get back to this. First of all, we've got Bilal saying Malacia isn't real, he's AI generated. I think I'm going to make a video this weekend about AI and football content. But anyway. DK Wilson is saying the quiet surrounding Malacia's surgeries is odd. Emma is saying, I think they don't really know when he'll be back. That's why they aren't saying anything. So that's a good point. Bilal, the doctors should have gone to Specsavers. Maybe we should have sent our bloody players to Specsavers. They'd have better medical care there. It's probably a doctor that's been approved by the club. Pretty sure we and all other clubs outsource surgeons and don't have ones that work only for us. Agreed. And Emma is also saying, isn't it just a routine surgery that has gone wrong? Like routine for the doctor and not the patient. I believe that to be the case, that like a routine surgery is something that's sort of in and out in one day. You're not expecting any complications from it. And poor Malacia has had half his knee chopped up and put in the wrong place, it sounds like. Oh, God, DK Wilson is shouting at me. I've been saying this. It's not the coaching staff. It begins with the owners. It literally has nothing to do with Ten Hag or any other manager. Staff must clear the player. money can United reasonably get for Malacia now? No
the same that we paid for him, probably. At the moment, he's had a year out, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a shame Ten Hag. Hello, Harry. By the way, it's a shame Ten Hag didn't go into more detail in that press conference when he said they have an idea about what's causing the injuries.
That's what you were saying on Monday, isn't it? I mean, it's. I suppose there's only a certain amount you can say, as you said, bath time without it getting whatever word you use, legit something. That's the word. Yeah. So, but I still think they could have explained themselves a little bit more to us, the fans, as to what was going. If he's out, he's out. That's fine. You know, did nobody in the press conferences ask him that question? You know,
has anyone seen the press conference? I haven't.
No, I haven't. And that's why it was the headline. No, it's not research. We didn't see it, so we're not speaking about it. You know what I mean? It's not research. We didn't see it. It's no way to talk about something we didn't see.
It's just search, isn't it? There's no research to it. All right, Mr. B, as we wrap up the Malacia mystery, do you have, like, you've heard me and OMONDI talk a lot of bollocks, probably. What's your reading of it all?
I would like him to come back at the beginning of the season, play pre-season. Let's get him fit for pre-season. And obviously he will be adding to what I'm going to say, what we have, what we don't have, because sure, the other left back, is it worth getting another one in and letting Shaw go? I mean, his injury record, forget about the broken leg, that was unlucky. Yeah. But since he's come back, he has, and even before that, he doesn't play a full season. He won't play 20, 25 games in a row. You know, so as good as he is, and people are talking about him being England's first choice left back, I didn't think he might have been, but I saw Chilwell play for England. He was shocking. So I know why they want Shaw to be playing. It's just whether or not he's going to be fit for the Euros. And if he's not, don't take him. If he's not going to play, if he's not fit to play the first games of the Euros, don't take him. Struggle Southgate with fitting somebody else in at left back, and let Shaw rest and come back strong for us in the summer. Come back for us strong for the new year, for the new season. Not
going to happen.
Yeah, I know, but you have to keep your fingers crossed and hope that things work out. But
what I mean is, like, we've seen from England managers over the years that if there's a key player, they get taken regardless of their injuries. Beckham, Rooney, etc. Like, England have no left backs, essentially. Is that correct? I don't really watch it.
Yeah, they don't. I don't think they do. Someone in the chat will tell me they know. I watched the England game when Mayu played. As soon as he came off, I left. I have no interest. I don't have any interest in international football. None whatsoever.
I like the end part of international football. Like, I will be rip-roaringly drunk in the pub if England get quarterfinals, semi-finals, and things like that. But I'm not a huge fan of international football. But I am a huge fan of the Housewives' favourite, Pat Lawless, who is coming to see us. Hope to see you back on the show soon. And I'm also a big fan of Yale Malin. Let's not play any more injured players. The Varan thing still got me angry. Yale, I'm not sure what the Varan thing is. If you could tell us.
Explain. Thank you.
I'm going to be honest, Yale, we've done absolutely no research or preparation for tonight's show. We're going out like an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer team on vibes.
Well, I mean, Varan, I assume, is going to be out for another couple of weeks anyway.
He's injured again?
Yeah.
But he is, isn't he? He's done all right this year through injuries, though.
Well, I mean, and this is the thing. I thought he played. It seems as soon as one defender comes back, another one says, "Oh, fuck it, it's my turn to get injured. I'll take a couple of weeks off." We haven't had. I mean, we're playing good Willie at the moment. You know, I have no problem. I have no problem him playing.
That back four is operated like a timeshare, isn't it? Like,
it's a joke. It is a joke. I mean, I didn't think we could have had so many different combinations. You know, it's like a Rubik's Cube. Who's going to play this week? Twist it. Oh, you're playing. You're injured. You're playing. You're injured. You're playing. I mean, we had Amrabat playing at a stage. Don't forget, we had Reguilon in our defence as well. You know, we've now gone down to 6th choice centre-back who probably wouldn't be in. And now we've got, I'm glad we're bringing up the youngsters from the youth, but
there's no choice though, is there?
Right. But these are obviously the ones that they're not just throwing in a youngster. There's obviously something in these players. I mean, it's not coincidence that Willie has been training with the squad.
Yeah.
He's obviously seen something in him. And these are the parts that I enjoy about our coach. I think he works better with youth kids. I think he does work better with the youth.
Yeah.
He's not going
too old for him. It's like Leonardo DiCaprio. When you get past 25, Eric Ten Hag can't work with you anymore.
Yeah, if that's the case, then fine. Get rid of everybody over 25. You know, keep what you want and get rid of everybody else. I mean, the under 18s and under 20, the under 18s smashed Liverpool 9-1 the other day. You know what I mean? So there's something going on. That side of it, the younger side of it, it's just the players the hardest players who don't want to listen. Rashford, Bruno, the two main players in the team aren't listening. Anthony, whether or not he's listening or he just doesn't have it in his arsenal, I have no idea. But is it a coincidence that the ones are getting us excited? Garnacho, getting us excited. Mayu, getting us excited. Willie only played one game, and people in France had put him in the team of the week. They put him in the team of the week and he played one game.
Yeah.
So is this going to be the Makeda where he came in and he had that for 3 games and then completely dropped off? Or is he going to be Mayu, where I don't think Mainu's dropping off?
Or Twansebi, I think, is a better example than Makeda.
There you go.
Like, Twansebi was the lad against Mbappe, yeah?
Yeah. But then it was injuries that kept him out. You know, he got injured after that game. You know, so look, Willie, he's going to have to play this week again. And I hope he puts in another performance like that where all of a sudden now we're thinking, all right, he's not going to be first choice. But if he's down, you know, if he's 4th choice next season, he's moved up 2 places. He's moved up 2 on what he was. And now he knows that he can do it. It's not going to be about confidence. It's not going to be about nerves. It's going to be about him wanting to play and do the best he can. I mean, when he said he wasn't thinking about England, his interview, I wasn't thinking about England. I wasn't thinking of, all I was thinking about was Manchester United. When I hear that, I love it. I love it. Whether or not he's talking shit or not, I don't think he is. You know, he's been told what to say. But when I hear our young kids saying they're only interested in Manchester, international football, exactly. You don't need the extra games. You don't need the extra games. Steve Bruce did fine for us and he never got no cap. You know what I mean?
Should we look at the comments?
Yeah.
All right, and I'll come to a Monday. Bart is talking about Rico Lewis as a left back for England.
Hardly plays left back for City, does he?
I know he's such an interesting player, Rico Lewis. I'm very excited to see where he ends up as a footballer, like in what position. I'm stunned how good he is at such a young age in different parts of the field. Yale was talking. He's saying that Heath played Varan with a concussion.
Did he?
Apparently. I know Varan spoke about how he was concussed earlier in the season.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's out with concussion at the moment. Bart is saying, does Matty Cash still have a British passport? I would imagine he does, but he can only play for Poland.
Oh, right. Okay. Didn't understand that question. Yeah.
And we've got We Deserve Better with his never-ending kaleidoscope of attractive men with their tops off. Well, hey, the lads. Evening, you beauties. And
how you doing?
Matty Basset is saying, our youngsters have the right mindset. My only question is about Garnacho, to be honest. I think he could go one or two ways. He doesn't strike me as serious as, say, like Kobe is.
What do you mean? Explain.
Like, Garnacho was running about with 2 dwarfs dressed as Messi and Ronaldo for his birthday party. That celebration that he did, where he sat on the hoardings, was he's taking the piss out of Kudos, who did it to us when I think Kobe might have slipped in midfield and they scored a goal, and that was Kudus' celebration. I don't think that like Garnacho is a particularly serious and focused, well, as serious and as focused as Kobe is, who, when Kobe scores, it's just natural. He doesn't make a big deal of it. I remember when Hannibal scored, Hannibal went absolutely mental, and it was to equalise. Dan James also did a similar thing on his debut where he scored. Kobe, when he scored, he seemed to be in complete control of his emotions. And
you're right, because even Højlund looked like he wanted to bar when he scored his first goal. He actually looked like he was going to have a breakdown in the pitch. You're right.
Yeah, so I think, and Willie, we've discussed this before, but I'm naturally against defenders like beating their chests and working up the crowd and things, because I want defenders to be the calmest people on the pitch. But that's just a personal preference. Anyway, less of my personal preferences and more about housewives' preferences. Agree, Mr. B. ETH positives are the young players playing really well this year. Anthony is a fizz head altogether. Bilal, all right, someone highlighted this, but Bilal says teenagers get Mr. B excited. The future is bright. We cannot let go of the Hag. He did the same at Ajax with younger players. Oh, God. I don't get this! When a player is injured on the pitch, do people think the manager comes running out to check them out? Ah! Harry, he's more calm. He's the Kobe. There was an article about Varan's concussion. He played in the 2014 World Cup and in a match with Real Madrid, but United, he didn't play earlier in the season because of one. Thank you for that clarification. I read an article about Sir Alex Ferguson advising Sir Jim about sacking ETH too soon and to give him more time. Do you guys still think he has a chance, or is it over for ETH? First of all, I wish Fergie would shut up sometimes, to be perfectly honest. He's got involved in every managerial appointment, and I'd prefer him just to stay away from that side of the club. OMONDI, you've been quiet. I know where you're going with this, but tell me.
Regarding Pat's comment here about
yes.
Brady. Well, first of all, I think it's like Solo. I mean, Solo still makes decisions. Solo's the equivalent of Fergie at the Man United.
Sir Alex Solo.
He takes us out to dinner. You're invited as well, Bart.
I know.
And treats us to dinner and advises us, and still has an influence over the club. Over the channel. But yeah, I do think Fergie has to remain a part of the club, and as an advisor, he's not got a role where he can dictate things, but you seek advice from someone who's been so successful. So I think it's wise that Fergie says to the manager, give Ten Hag more time, because Fergie is more experienced than anyone. He knows what it takes to recreate the glory of the past, and it takes time and it takes patience, and we can't just go out on a whim and just go on from what fan channels are saying or what fans are saying because they're disappointed with our progress or our results or our injuries or that kind of thing, or blaming the manager for injuries. Ain't that right, DK Wilson? So I just think it's right that we do get advice from Fergie. I think I disagree with you there, Bartime, about not listening to him anymore. He still has a say, because you need, it's like with old people. Old people go senile when they're not heard anymore. You need to stimulate them. And, it's better to get the wisdom from old people. Even though football's changed, you need to speak to your grandparents, your great-grandparents, have discussions with them. They will tell you wise little things about life, which will make you a better person. And I think what he's telling Jim right now is important, because I think Jim's got a big decision to make. There's a lot of pressure on Ten Hag. Jim's come in. It's the usual way to bring in your own management when you come in to a club like that. And I think it's not 50-50. I think it's 70-30 in favour of Ten Hag staying at the moment, because you can go out there. I'll give you an example of Liverpool Football Club right now. They've got Klopp and they're looking, right, he said he's leaving. We got to get someone else in. Luckily, they're keeping a lot of their staff and everyone has made them successful. But they've decided, looks like they're going for the guy from Sporting Lisbon. And he's a young guy. He hasn't got the has he got the character as Klopp? But it's a big drop. It's a big change. You know what I'm saying? And they might drop off because of this one guy. It reminds me of what's his name, Villas Boas, young Portuguese guy.
Spurs.
He was the hot stuff and came to Chelsea, came to Spurs, and couldn't do the business because players didn't respect him because he looks my age. He just look like, what credentials have you got? You know, it's like that. So we need to be really mindful when we get a new manager. Don't expect success to happen straight away. Granted, it's happened. We can give a few examples where we've seen clubs like Spurs, you know, and Aston Villa doing really well at the moment with newish managers, you know. But it's not always the case.
But 1-0.
Yeah, exactly. Especially with Manchester United Football Club. I was looking at our list of managers over the years. There's not that many. We haven't changed too much. It's only since Fergie has left we've had, you know, we've given them 2-3 years, but it's not long enough. Something needs to change. This is why my point about being Ten Hag in, I understand we're not doing well. I agree with everyone on that respect. But the main reason why I'm still Ten Hag in, and while I've got his, you know, I'm joining you, Mr. B. I've got a little Ten Hag here. He's not listening. He's got his headphones on. The reason I'm still Ten Hag in because I think we need to break that cycle where we think, all right, 2 years, we expect success. It's not going to happen like that. And that's why I think Alex Ferguson, going back to the original point from Pat, is advising Jim to say, look at our thing. Moyes didn't even get a year.
Thank God.
Years. Mourinho, you know, we've got to extend it a bit longer, and then you'll see the true fruits of what you reap, you will sow. And I think what we're sowing right now with Ten Hag, like Mr. B was saying here, and I know Mr. B wants to go into it about young players and what Ten Hag's bringing them through. We got some talented guys. 9-1 against Liverpool. The striker, you know, the left back, the number 10 in the under-18s. There's a lot of talent coming through, and we're recruiting there. So Ten Hag has to be the man to bring all these guys through. And I think Fergie's seeing the long, you know, we say about the end game and all that kind of thing with the Avengers. Fergie is seeing the end game. He's doing Mr. Strange, Dr. Strange. He's seen the end game, and he's saying, give it more time. Otherwise, we're going to lose this battle.
I thought you were talking about actual economic theory for 1 second there, and I got really excited, but it was the Avengers.
I know nothing about that.
Mr. B, I'm going to put a different spin on this from a question or a comment that's come up. And then on Monday, obviously, you're going to be able to respond to it as well. But this is something that I believe as well. And we deserve better. Said, I wish Fergie would shut up, full stop, etc. Because of him running his mouth, we got the Glazers. This is undeniably true that Alex Ferguson's actions on the football club brought the Glazers to us, and he's defended them and so on and so forth. Do you think that part of his legacy that it comes into the thinking when he talks to Sir Jim Radcliffe or the Glazers themselves about keeping the manager?
No.
Okay.
No.
Can you elaborate, or is that all I get?
No, I don't think it does. I don't. Fergie has had unparalleled success at our club. Now, if you can't go to him for advice, just advice, you know, if he advises you to do this, you don't necessarily have to do what he says to do. But at the same time, that's something who you want to listen. That's somebody who I would be wanting to listen to as a manager coming into the club. Yeah, I want to tap into what knowledge he has, you know. So no, I would have to disagree 150%.
Okay, good stuff. Omondi, you're going to disagree as well.
Well, I don't know. I think, look, he was a manager when the Glazers came in. Obviously, there was the issue about the horse.
Rock of Gibraltar.
Rock of Gibraltar, that's the one. Yeah, we all know about what happened there. But who would have anticipated? Do you think Fergie really would have anticipated that the Glazers would have a reputation they do today in 2024 when he was winning the Champions League in 2008?
I think he should have.
Well, maybe he did, but
he's a football manager. Monday.
He's a football manager. He's not a financial. He's not reading the Financial Times every day. He's not in that sort of world. He knows the world of football. This is the world of finance and management of clubs. So he's brought someone in to sustain the club, who decided to buy the club a long time ago, and that he was successful under the Glazers still, up until 2013, when he still had a poor side and won the league title. So they've won a Champions League, numerous league titles under the Glazers' ownership. I think Alex Ferguson doesn't have any kind of agenda, with when he's making decisions like this. I don't think he has, but he's obviously meeting with Jim, and he's probably, as you said, or when we were doing the takeover talk, we were saying it was between the Jazim, is it Sheikh Jazim and Jim, and a lot of you said BATHTIME and Mr. B. There was, because we discussed everything. We all said there's a lot of people associated with the club would prefer Jim, because if they get the Jazim in, they might lose their jobs and that kind of thing, because they might have a big clear out and bring everyone new in, whoever's latest new guy to come in, they would do that. So I think a lot of guys around the club who had been associated with the club for a long time are happier with Sir Jim in, and that means Jim working alongside the Glazers and having A shares and a bit of a B share as well. And I think overall we haven't complained about it that much. We just want to see success on the football pitch, and that's all that matters at the moment. The other side of things, Glazers we're not really discussing them about dividends and all this kind of thing. We're focused now on listening to Jim, from Jim downwards, and what his discussions are about improving our football club with our results and getting success trophies and that kind of thing. The other stuff above, I think that's been left alone for now. So unless it raises up ugly head again when something else comes out, but for now, I'm quite confident that Fergie's got no agenda about the Glazers. I think Fergie's real agenda is to improve the club and see better results. You see him at the games. I think he's got an influence. I think he's not going to screw us over. I trust in him that he wants to do what's right for the club. Granted, he makes wrong decisions. He got rid of Yap Stam. He says it's a wrong decision. He made a wrong decision maybe with the Glazers, but he's not going to, officially turn around and say, come on, snide behind their back. He just wants what's best for the club. Strictly that.
All right. Do you want to look at some comments?
Of course.
Okay. First off, we got Emma K. Even though I kind of disagree with BATHTIME, it's been 10 years since Sir Alex Ferguson retired. Football has changed a lot in that time, on and off the pitch. And look who it is, lads. It's Stephanie Griffiths saying big up BATHTIME, OMONDI and Mr. B. And she's given us her customary likes and watching thing. Thanks very much. Bilal is saying that Fergie is Thanos. I think it all depends on what the guys in the back want and what Ten Hag wants. It'll have to be in parallel. And Rebels joined. The fact he drew the Glazers on us is a mark on his legacy. His success on the pitch is obviously legendary, but at the same time, his mouth cashed a bill United are still paying for. Sir Alex Ferguson is one of those players who cannot retire, even though they should. We should just play along. Ex-players, ex-managers all need to move on. They are eroding their own legacies because they cannot let go of the limelight. Love Fergie, but his legacy hangs over the club just like Busby did all those years ago. The comparisons are scary, sadly. Might not be an agenda, Yabba, but Sir Alex is culpable for what has transpired. It's one of the single most damaging events in the history of the club, letting them cross the threshold of the club. Was hiring Moyes a good decision? If Daddy Glazer hadn't died, it might have been a different story. Pat is saying, I'd like to see Erik ten Hag stay and sign a different caliber of player next year under a new board / management. No more superstars on the decline. And finally, we've got We Deserve Better. Anyone would think Jim has never hired and curated a winning team before. Look at his signings at United already. Fergie, go, retire, quietly, please.
Wow.
And last, but certainly not least, it's Harry. Sir Alex can do what he wants. If people want to succeed at this club, they have to deal with the pressure that our history brings. All right, Mr. B, you've read those comments. Any stand out to you? Any thoughts?
The last one. Harry
This
David.
one?
Yeah, he can do what he wants. If people wanted, they know what our history is. They know how big our club is. They can't handle the pressure. Don't apply for the job. When they come to talk to you, tell them no thanks. So yeah, I agree with Harry David 150% on that one.
All right. I think we're going to move on to our final story, unless Monday wants to chime in.
I second that emotion, Smokey Robinson.
It's kind of like a countdown, you know, where you go to Carol Vorderman for the numbers. Just go to a Monday for music lyrics. All right. Mr. B, there was something about Adam Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah, they're talking about him getting sold for 15 million euros. Not pounds, euros.
Oof.
One, I think that might be too cheap unless there's something going on injury-wise that we don't know. Inter Milan are looking at him. Obviously, they're going to be losing. What's that Dutch guy? That Dumfries. So they're trying to sort out a contract extension for him. They probably can't pay him what he wants to earn, to be fair. So he probably will be gone. But Wan-Bissaka's name's a name that's come up in that sort of idea. Obviously, we've been linked to Frimpong again. That's something that's not going away for the last couple of days. So maybe there is something in the works. Would you be happy to lose Wan-Bissaka? I'll be honest, I would gladly let him go. And if it's 15 million that they get, then it's 15 million that they get. They're going to lose money in all the players that they bought in the Woodward era anyway. I think it's just an acceptance as what they have to do. Just work out how much they can get and what they can spend from whatever the loss is. So yeah, we're always going to lose money on our players. But yeah, I think he can go. I would be quite happy to see him gone.
Monday.
Yeah, I think they reckon we've got a good relationship with Inter. There's always a lot of players gone back and forth, even starting with Paul Ince, you know. But in recent years, you had Ashley Young. We had they've got Damian now. I said Damien, not Damien. Damian. Damian. Yeah, he's a first team regular for them, and they've only lost one game in the league this season. Defensive masters, you know, Inter Milan. So they're probably going to win their title. And if they're interested in Wan-Bissaka, I'm sure he can go out there and become a defensive guru. I hear what you're saying, Mr. B, about Wan-Bissaka. I think he gets a raw deal since he's been at the club. The reason why, because he's quite poker-faced. He's not someone you hear in the headlines. He gets out there, does his job. You don't even know if he's tired. You never see him blowing out his ass or having a go at someone.
But he doesn't go full sprinting either. Though. Have you seen him when he's jogging back?
He's fast
when the team's on the break. Yeah, but
I think
I want to see him bust his neck to try and get back. He always seems to be jogging, you know. And if you're jogging, you're not for running that full sprint, regardless of what he looks like. I just don't think he has any interest outside of it.
I think he's quite deceptive with his running. Yeah, I know what you're saying. I agree with you though. Sometimes when he's running back, you think sprint, but he's quick enough over the ground to get. You know, he's been up against like really fast wingers. You expect wingers to be quicker than him, and he's waiting to pounce. Unfortunately, I don't want to big him up about timing tackles lately because of what happened with Elliott. You know, and that was bound to happen, but it hasn't happened as often as we thought it would when we first seen him arrive at the club and he was going down and we were complaining about him going to ground all the time. He usually tends to time his tackles pretty well, considering. So I think he's an enforcer. I think he's really good at what he does. His quality, his good points are good about, you know, when we've been in situations when we're under the cosh. He's someone who can sort of lock down a player. I've seen him do it with Sterling. I've seen him do it with Barnes from Leicester, who's a good player. I've seen him do it with Juma. Is it what's his name? Juma from Everton.
Dan Juma,
who's pretty good as well. And there's plenty other wingers in the Premier League that he has to face week in, week out, and no one complains because he does his job. But
he has become less dominant this season. I find in 1v1 duels with wingers though.
Okay, examples. Yeah, I'm interested to hear this. Yeah,
Harvey Elliott, Saka. Like, I find that like maybe last season or 2 seasons ago, we would know that Wan-Bissaka could shut down any defensive duels in a 1v1 situation. It was extraordinary, like how comfortable he was at dealing with players.
Yeah.
And the big issues for Wan-Bissaka were things like, an example being Anthony Gordon this season, where players would get in round the back and score goals, like Wan-Bissaka going to sleep at the back post. It has always been the thing. But this season, I can't recall any performances where I felt Wan-Bissaka completely dominated his winger to the degree that we saw with someone like, say, Sterling at Manchester City. And my follow-up to you, Omondi, would be about Ashley Young. Ashley Young moved to Inter Milan to play as their left back or their right back, and won a league. Do you think that, like, Wan-Bissaka has the ability to go to a team like Inter and help them win the league? And are we selling ourselves short at 15 million if that's the case?
When I read the deal, Mr. B's talking about, I thought it was a swap. I thought they were talking about a swap deal for Dumfries. So 15 million and something, whatever the deal is. I didn't realise it was 15 million for the player alone. That's not good enough, in my opinion. I think he's at a good age. I think he's underrated because he's at Man United under the spotlight. People don't respect him or rate him. But I'm sure Inzaghi, the manager of Inter, does rate him and realises this is a top player. Yeah, you keep undermining him. We're taking for 15 million. That's a really good deal. For me, I don't like to value players so much, but he's double that in my estimation. Even though he's not getting international caps, he's playing for Man United. He's a dog. Inzaghi only has to speak to players, say, what do you think of Wan-Bissaka? And they say, look at Wilfred Zaha, who's, this is a guy who's electric, fast, skillful, and likes to turn it on against any fullback. He would tell you himself, that guy is a dog. He's a dog of a player. So I think from a player's perspective, which you love BATHTIME, you loved him from a player's perspective, I think most players would say Wan-Bissaka is underrated and doesn't get his dues. He's a top player. I just think, in the spotlight at Man United, I don't think if he does leave this season, I will look back and say he was a good player. Wasn't the best. But
has he developed, Omondi? Has he developed enough under the spotlight?
When he arrived at 22 or something like that, I think he was fully developed then. He's given all he can give, as in technically, I don't think he can get any better. But defensively, that's what he's got. And unfortunately, in today's game, most teams, especially at Man United or teams that want to be the top, you look. We weren't going to. Well, I wanted to discuss Champions League football in the last show. We're going to carry it over, but we're talking about the games this midweek. Looking at the fullbacks for City, for Real Madrid, for the other team, PSG, the left back for PSG, and the right back as well. You're looking at these guys, you're thinking,
Nunez.
Yeah, you're thinking, wow, these guys are really good.
Levels above Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah. So in that case, Omondi, take the price away. Should we be looking to move Aaron Wan-Bissaka on?
It hurts me to say this, but I'm going to say yes.
Good. We're going to look at the comments now. All right. Actually, I'm going to start with this one. I would honestly miss Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I love his poker face in any situation. There's no emotion, happy or sad. Wow. If Aaron Wan-Bissaka goes for 15 million, remember this is euros, not pounds. The underselling continues. Let's hope that overpaying doesn't. Good point. I really like Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He's a very good squad player. And look who it is. It's the very handsome older brother, possibly younger brother of Andrew. It's Tyrone Williams. And Tyrone is saying that he's late because he went to see the Machinel at the Old Vic Theatre. I highly recommend it.
I was at the Old Vic recently. Big up.
What? Big up Vic.
Big up Tyrone and big up the Old Vic Theatre. Yeah, I went to see Bob Marley get up, stand up there.
Wicked. Give us a review, Tyrone. DK Wilson is saying that we should be looking to 35 to 40 million.
We won't sell him. They won't sell him for that. Nobody's going to pay that for Wan-Bissaka.
I don't know, right? Because the issue with selling a player like Wan-Bissaka is the homegrown stuff. And I have a belief that the reason that Jim has constantly said he wants a British core is because if you have good young British players who perform at an acceptable standard in the Premier League, it's going to be very difficult not to sell them. Because you think of like the spend of Nottingham Forest, for example, any team that's coming up, they've got about 60 to 70 million to spend. And if Aaron Wan-Bissaka is available for 30 million, it fits in with the homegrown regulations, and it's an asset that can easily be sold on because everyone needs British squad players. Like that's kind of my reading of the situation, and why I wonder why we're looking to sell the Maguires, McTominays, Aaron Wan-Bissakas instead of getting in like more young English players before we then move those guys on, because that puts us in a stronger position to sell. But anyway, Harry David is saying that Aaron Wan-Bissaka's contract expires in 2025, so it may be a case of wanting to cash in on him instead of letting him go for 3. It's rumoured to be 90k a week, so get him off the wage bill as well. Harry, you're far too sensible to be a contributor to this platform. Steph is saying a player who I don't know who that is.
Gerardo.
He was in the Spanish league last season, and now he's gone to the Portuguese league. But he's someone who's highly rated. He's only 18 or something like that, or 19 now probably. But yeah, he's someone who's on the radar of a lot of clubs.
Okay.
One of the Spanish teams he was at.
Okay, well, Emma is saying that she thinks Aaron Wan-Bissaka would be good in Spain, but not really Italy. We deserve better. 15 million is a Murta Madless. He is at least a 40 million pound defender. Aaron Wan-Bissaka was a winger at Palace. I'm surprised because he's not very good at going forwards.
That's why they moved him to the back.
Yeah. I can write all my comments in caps if that helps me seem less reasonable.
Big up, Harry.
Big up, Harry.
DK Wilson.
Yeah. Okay, I can't continue to shout all this stuff.
1 sec, I'm coming.
Oh, I was about to end the show. All right, Amonde, whilst we're waiting for Mr. B and my voice is recovering, do you want to speak a little bit on the football that you saw in the Champions League this week?
Yeah, I'd love to. I mean, look, we're the Man United agenda, but we love football first. That's the most important thing. I really, really enjoyed the games. It was Arsenal up against Bayern Munich, and obviously that they're haunted by what happened to them when they were previously in the Champions League. I think they lost 10-2 on aggregate to Bayern before. Arsenal showed that they can match them. I don't think they'd be happy with the result, but it's a great game of football. Levels, you know, these teams, we're talking about Man United, we watch them week in, week out, and we are a long way off this sort of level, quarter-final, semi-final level of the Champions League. What a game that was. You had players all throughout the pitch. I thought Sane was magnificent for Bayern Munich. Their left back, Davis, is just a beast, an absolute athlete and a good.
Sorry about that.
As well. And Davis was a winger. We know that. Davis was a winger who's converted to left back. We get that a lot, don't we? No one really wants to be a left back or a fullback. Fullback finds you, I'd say. And so I think Davis is an example of that. He's fantastic, you know. And then we saw what got me, Eric Dyer, Spurs reject, starting ahead of Kim, who's on the bench, you know. See what I'm saying? So maybe we've missed something there. We're lucky to fortunate to miss out. So we're fortunate, to miss out on Kim, because Eric Dyer's ahead of him at the moment. So, and then we saw the right back from Bayern Munich, who we've been looking at recently. He's coming out to end the contract or something. Kimmich, yeah. So Bayern Munich, despite them beating us, they're still a good team. They matched Arsenal, and unfortunately, I think Davis is out for the return leg. But Arsenal, obviously, we know about them. But going to the Man City Real Madrid game, that should be the final. I mean, every goal was magnificent. City had levels. I think they had something like 70% possession by the end of the game. But Real Madrid had more shots and were more effective. It was a great game of football. I can't wait for the days when we get back to that sort of level. To manage a football club to get to that sort of level and sustain it like that is very difficult. the method we're going at with like maybe getting youngsters coming in, can they play at that level? Can they compete? There's a guy, when we look at Arsenal, they've got Saliba, who's played the most games out of anyone in the top 6 leagues, apart from a couple of goalkeepers. And he's been magnificent, strolling through games. But he looks like he's ready for this, you know? And I just think, like, to level...
Well, it was Bruno.
I think Saliba this season. Yeah, maybe was the game. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but I read that today. But I just think the levels of the Champions League is excellent, and credit to all these teams. Even Barcelona, they look like they're back. They beat Paris Saint-Germain 3-2, didn't they? At Paris, you know. So it's great watching these teams, and you've got to close that gap. I just think, yeah, we really need to step it up. And at fullbacks, in positions like fullback, I was looking at all the fullbacks in all these games, and these guys are legit, proper beasts of players who could do a bit of everything. So we got a long way to go.
Who stood out to you as the best fullback that you saw?
I like the guy. So Paris Saint-Germain, I always liked him. They got a guy from Portugal who, at 18 years old,
Nuno Gomez or something.
Yeah, Nuno something. I forget his name. Left back. He's magnificent. Honestly, his touch is just a brilliant footballer. And an athlete as well. And then on the other side, they've got the Moroccan guy, Hakimi, who, as everyone knows about him, he's quick, fast. He's always instrumental down the right, linking up play. And it's just very good talent in football. He could be a winger, you know, if he wanted to. And then, obviously, I want to give credit to the right back at Real Madrid because they got problem at the full back positions. They got Mendy at left back from Lyon. At right back, they've got the guy who's been there for a long time. And I've never thought, oh, he's rubbish. He's no good. But time again, he proves me wrong. He's such a good, consistent player for them. The right back for Real Madrid. Forget his name now. But someone in the comments will know who I'm talking about. And then obviously, when you come to Arsenal, Man City, they don't tend to really have out-and-out fullbacks in a way. They're playing centre-backs in those sort of positions. But those guys, especially Nuno, right back for Real Madrid, and who it was Davis. Those guys are amazing. If we had footballers like that, it would go a long way because fullback has become a really important position. As Bath Time keeps mentioning on the eye test, you need to have a lot about your game these days.
All right, well, let's have a quick look at some comments. We got Tyrone saying Real Madrid and City's game was impressive. Arsenal started really well, but then allowed nerves to get the better of them. Odegaard stepped up like a captain should. And then he says that Phil Foden was unbelievable. 2 unbelievable goals. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Carvajal is the player that you're
really
talking
consistent,
about.
Really consistent player.
Yeah. And Stephanie is saying, our games last season versus Barcelona Europa was Champions League level. They said it at the time. Oh, how things for United. And Emma K is saying Mendy.
Left back.
The left back. And Tyrone said, I don't watch Madrid that often. I'm too busy at the Old Vic. That's where he watches his stuff. All right, Mr. B, do you have any comments on the Champions League football this weekend?
I enjoyed it.
Nice.
I did. I'm normally a hater. I'll be honest. It was a competition that we were kicked. I am. I'm so bitter. I'm so bitter that we're not in it. I'm glad we're not in Europa. But I'm gutted. I'm gutted that we're not in Champions League. Quarters is when the Champions League starts.
Yeah.
We weren't even close. So the games are great.
It's shit until the quarterfinals.
Yeah, it does. It's nothing. Yeah, it's nothing. I mean, look, maybe next year, with the way that they've changed it, will make it a bit more exciting. But guess what? We're not going to be in there to see the excitement. So, again, it may be a thing where I don't really give a toss about it until the group stages start, maybe. Who knows?
All right. Well, we've done 1 hour and 10 minutes. Have we done enough on the Champions League, Monday? I know you've been desperate to talk about it all week.
What are your thoughts? Do you watch the game? I mean, you tuned in as well, didn't you? What do you think about the levels? How far can we close that gap? Who really impressed you as a team?
I have to say I was impressed by PSG because I hadn't seen PSG for about a year. The last time I saw them, Neymar was playing, Messi was playing, and they were disorganized and all this stuff. And then I saw them play against it was Barca, isn't it?
Yeah.
Their goalkeeper Donnarumma is awful, in my opinion. I've always thought he's dreadful.
Yes.
Yeah, do we agree on that? He's like shit at kicking, like terrible at claiming crosses. Like, I mean, he's massive, but I've got no confidence in him. And I felt that he gave them 2 goals. But when I look at the teams in the Champions League, they are so far ahead of us. It's untrue. You can see that they all play a similar style of in terms of the spacing, which is the distance in between the lines. That in pretty much every stage of play, like you can pause it any minute during a match, and one team is camped in another's half, and the other team is in a really solid, hard to break down block, and we're having to see insane football in order to break that block down. When we watch Man United, we can pause the game at any minute, and it's just. I mean, do I need to expand anymore on what we see? There's this old adage, right?
You built up so well, and then he said, "When we watch Man United, it's
Well, like this is what I think of the Liverpool games on Mondays. That there's an expression, and it's something like, I wish Andrew was here to tell me what it is, but it's something like, never argue with an idiot because they'll drag you down to their level and beat you with experience.
Yeah.
I felt that that's what we did to Liverpool, where we made the game as stupid as possible. And because we thrive in stupidity, like, we were able to just out-stupid them. But even in that game, right, even in that game, right, when Liverpool started playing properly, they took control of the game, they won a penalty, and God knows what would have happened if they'd done that 10 minutes earlier or so on. So when you look at the Champions League and you see the style of football, I can understand that it's annoying for people to watch because every team is pretty much playing exactly the same positional football. There's not, the only exciting wing play comes from these fullbacks. But I look at it and I think that not only is it just so great to watch, it kind of upsets me about how far behind United are and how we don't even appear to be trying to move to these levels and this type of football. And you look at a team like Chelsea, and I think that they're trying to get there. But with us, we're just trying to make the game as stupid as possible and then unleash our stupidity upon the other team and try and infect them with it. And just before you respond to those comments, to my sort of verbal diarrhea on that, I'll just go through some quick comments. Tyrone is saying he loves the Champions League, just wish they'd leave it as it was. There's no need for 5 teams. Away goals should have been left alone too. Steph is saying Jude was disappointing for Real.
Yeah.
Okay. I have to admit, I wasn't interested in watching the FIFA Investment Fund Club play. Very good. Tyrone, good. I'm glad you're with me on this, Tyrone. It's so hard seeing United so far behind. It's unacceptable. Harry is bringing something up that I have seen. Did you see Ruud Gullit's criticism of Ajax Ten Hag? So, okay, we'll do this very briefly, but in Holland, they seem to have a long tradition of publicly grilling managers on television. In this case that's been going around, Ten Hag, at the time at Ajax, was surrounded by a lot of people from Dutch football that I don't know, and Ruud Gullit. And Ruud Gullit was talking about how open the midfield was for Ajax. And Ten Hag said that when you look at teams that play in the same style as Ajax, such as Manchester City and Bayern Munich, essentially the only goals that they concede are on transition, and that it's going to be part of it's just an end result of the way they play. And Ruud Gullit said that, yes, but when you look at those teams, they always have 2 players in the middle, with one defensive player, in this case Fernandinho, and at Ajax you just have 1 player in the middle, Frankie de Jong, and it means that it's far easier to cut these teams open, to cut your teams open, than Manchester City and Bayern Munich. And that is paraphrasing what David is saying, which we'll come back to whilst you think about it as I go through the last 2 comments. which is Valverde, who was Casemiro's replacement at Real, was very good. I agree. Tyrone didn't see it, but it's beautiful. They can't score for shit. And this is, did anyone see Liverpool's loss at Atalanta? Darwin Nunez is so poor, it's untrue. And he was Eric Ten Hag's top striker signing. Right. Thoughts on Ruud Gullet's criticisms of Ten Hag from 5 years ago?
When he said he couldn't play the Ajax way, he can.
Omondi?
I love Ruud Gullet as a player. I think I love listening to him as well. And I don't think it's criticism so much. I think Dutch love to talk football. And sometimes I wish I knew the Dutch language, because when you see lots of these videos on, especially with Cruyff talking, you want to hear it in his language. You want to understand it and translate it properly, because it takes a while to translate to English. But Dutch love their game. They love talking football, and they love. It's not critical. It's critiquing certain things, because so philosophy. As Louis Van Gaal used to say, it's my philosophy. And it's like everyone's got have their own philosophy, their own style, and it all comes from this culture of creating, for instance, the 70s or the late 60s, 70s in Holland, of beautiful game and tactics, and that's their culture. That's how they talk football. It's a good thing. I mean, I would love to have Ruud Gullet and any Dutch guy. We used to have a Dutch correspondent, Vincent, on our show. He's neglected us now, but he talked a good game of football and about things. So Stephanie says she speaks double Dutch. And as I'll skip along to Mr. B now.
All right, gents, are we ready to end?
Yeah, just quickly, I want to say congratulations to Marcus Rashford scoring the goal of the month against Man City.
Okay, I'd like to congratulate your sister and Kareem. Welcome to the world of supporting Manchester United. And I think that's all from us this evening.
Yeah, we will be back. Are we going to try? We're going to talk to Stefan about the watch along. We'll just get them to jump. And Saturday footballs I can't do anything tomorrow.
Yeah, all right. Look, we could talk to Stefan about trying to do a dual broadcast and all this kind of stuff, but you all know the standard of technical excellence and coordination and communication that you're dealing with the Manchester United agenda. So instead, I would recommend that you watch Stefan's watch along or our friends at the Stretford Paddocks. But we will have a reaction show, yes?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so that reaction show, let's say are we all right for 9 o'clock on Saturday tomorrow?
No, not 9
o'clock.
It's a 5:30 kickoff, 2 hours after the game. That's 7:30.
8 o'clock?
Yeah, 7:45 we go.
Okay, so we'll see you at 7:45, and I'll ask our Dora to come on. Thank you. Oh, excuse me. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you once again, everyone, for spending your Friday night with us, and we will see you tomorrow. So good night.